right. That's always very intriguing to watch. Plus the music and everything. Anyways, what's up, guys? My name is Jeremy Kazivo, aka Entertain Today. I'm your host, and today we're joined by a newcomer, hopefully a more consistent member, Perry. Perry, what's up? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. First time. It was a great year for movies, and I'm just excited to talk about them.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I remember back in January, I had a whole list of movies I was ready to watch, and let me tell you, I can say with confidence that there was multiple movies I watched multiple times and never got old of them at all.
For
So,
sure.
so without further ado, let's go ahead and begin our top 10 films of this year, respectively, our own list. And so, Perry, kick us off with your number 10. Let me real quick just share the screen while we're at this.
Before I do top 10, can I name just a couple honorable mentions?
Of course, go for it.
All right. So it was a great year. A lot of movies, can't put them all in the top 10. I just wanted to give a couple shout outs. There was one film called Snack Shack, directed by Adam Reimer. I thought it was just a really fun time with two kids getting in trouble over the summer and trying to uh, run this snack shack at the pool.
Hmm.
It had a lot of deeper moments too. It was just a really good time with it. Also, Inside Out 2. Uh,
Wow. Okay.
welcome. It was a nice welcome back to the mind in the Pixar world of Riley. I really loved how they depicted anxiety and how it's not really the villain or an enemy, but it just kept growing and growing. Everyone really just wanted to do what was best for them, but like each emotion, they all mean something different. So I thought that was very powerful. And then my last two honorable mentions, uh, another animated movie, Transformers One.
Wow. Okay.
Uh, I thought
Okay.
I thought this was a welcome, fresh slice of life to the Transformers franchise. Loved seeing the origins of Optimus Prime and Megatron and Bumblebee and the rest of the gang. I'm excited to see where they take those movies in the future. I think animation is a great space for the Transformers franchise. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where that goes. And then my last honorable mention is a movie called Conclave,
Yes, right.
starring Ray Fiennes and Stanley Tucci. Um, I thought this was it had a lot of good symbolism for modern times today, kind of just a power struggle and everyone grabbing for the top seat. And I love how, in the end, they choose uh, love overall. So it was a really powerful message, and I appreciated that. And Ray Fiennes was one of the best performances of the year, I think.
Okay. Do you have so those are honorable mentions? Now
Those are
give
my
us
honorable mentions.
right.
Yeah.
So give
All
us
right.
number 10.
Okay. So my number 10 slot. It's a movie that I wasn't really expecting to like so much when I first saw the trailers, but as I thought about it more, it really kind of stuck with me. It's a film called I Saw the TV Glow,
That's
directed by
by
Adrian
A24,
Murray.
right?
Yeah, A24. Um, it's really kind of just a great depiction and about like the entrapment of identity and how you consume it through the media. You know, when they go throughout the movie and talk about their like they have a favorite show, and that's like their personality, but they're just entrapped to it. I thought it was very reminiscent of what the director's personal life went through. Uh, sh- they had a very difficult time transitioning with transgender and just identity as a whole. So I thought there were a lot of powerful and haunting visuals. It was honestly very unsettling, but I think that comes with the message as well. So I think it did a really good job with that.
Well, let me tell you, I was not expecting anything by A24 on this list for some reason, which is why my number 10 is arguably a sleeper for this year called Arthur the King. And this is starring, a dog, obviously, and Mark Wahlberg, where Mark Wahlberg and his group of friends they go on this whole journey where they basically run, I believe it's across an island or something like that. And throughout the whole course of the movie, this one dog, he's a stray, and he just works his way through survival. And as he stumbles upon Mark Wahlberg's character during the race, they find this special connection where Mark Wahlberg's friends they decide to leave him behind, the dog, as they continue on the race. And then all throughout the journey, this dog pops up in different spots, like he's spying on Mark Wahlberg's character. And then towards the end, by the way, for the viewers, this list is full of some spoilers, so alert. Towards the end of the movie, this dog, despite everything he's been through, he finds Mark's character at the very end, and he literally almost dies trying to be adopted by him. And this movie, I, again, I am very much an emotional guy when it comes to movies like this, and I definitely did try to hold back tears. But there was one strong moment where I did cry, where I had to hide under my shirt in the movie. But this movie was special. This dog shows he's the definition of being like resilient, courage, the bravery, everything he's gone through to just be adopted by Mark Wahlberg's character. It was a very special movie, and the fact that I have a dog too just helped me build more of a connection with my own dog as well. So yes, this is very much an underrated sleeper for this year. Arthur the King for me at number 10 only.
Yeah, dogs always get you right in the feels.
Yeah,
Every
yeah, this movie was special.
Yeah.
All right,
Is it my turn?
yep, this number 9.
All right, for my number 9, I have Hitman, Richard Linklater's
Mm,
latest movie.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Richard Linklater is one of my favorite directors working today. I think nobody really depicts what life is better than him. So I was very excited going into this movie and seeing what he had to say, which was a crazy true story about an actual hitman, but it's not really what you think. It's kind of just setting people up for if they were to do a crime. I think Glenn Powell does a great job in this movie. He has fantastic chemistry with his counterpart, Adria Arona. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's very sexy. It's very fun. His disguises are very fun. He was a great Patrick Bateman as American Psycho in this as well. So overall, just a really fun time, and I'm glad to see that this year was kind of the Glennaissance. Uh, Glenn Powell. I'm excited to see what he does going forward, and I'm always excited for more Richard Linklater.
I have to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure Glenn Powell's career skyrocketed after Top Gun, and without a doubt, I do not think he would have been casted in Hitman if it wasn't for Top Gun.
I don't think so
I
either.
know there were some movies that he was in after Top Gun that if it wasn't for Top Gun, he wouldn't be casted in those certain movies. And Hitman to me is a film that Top Gun helped Glenn Powell acquire, and he was amazing in it. I loved it.
Yeah, he just oozes charisma, and he's got that star power that I think he's going to carry with him for the rest of his career. It seems like he's just climbing to the top
Hmm.
more and more.
All right, now for my number 9. One second. Okay, there we go. My number 9 actually happens to be one of your mentions. My number 9 is Inside Out 2. Okay?
Mhm.
Inside Out 2. There's a reason why it's in my list, but it's still pretty low. So we did, at least I knew what to expect the story to be like. After seeing the first one, like it's pretty much clear how the idea goes with the emotions controlling Riley, and we all knew as part 2 was going to be here how as we progress through the movie, it would basically progress through Riley's personal life as she first went to middle school, now she's in high school, going to college, or things like that. So Inside Out 2 is on my list because, like you said, anxiety. The emotion really hit me, and the fact that I go through anxiety myself many times, I feel like I was able to connect to this character, and the fact that anxiety wasn't really a villain, it was just bringing out what that emotion is all about. And that's why I feel like this movie did amazing in the box office, and that's why it's still in my list. But again, I knew what the story was going to be about or like, but the animation, how we went deeper into her brain, deeper with more of a story, with the emotions more, and again, anxiety just brought out a special part of this movie. So that's why it's on my list and not an honorable mention.
Yeah, I have so many compliments I could give the creators for Inside Out and Inside Out 2. I love how like in like the brain, like all her memories are in like a maze, but if you
Mm-hmm.
look from the top view, it looks like what an actual brain looks like. I thought that was a
Right.
neat detail. Um, but yeah, as we grow older, I mean, the first movie came out in 2015, and now you kind of relate to emotions as you grow older, you mature, and it just kind of hits you more and more. So I think, especially with anxiety, that's an emotion that everybody deals with every day. And I think they did a great job tackling that.
All right. Let's hear number eight.
My number eight uh, is going to be Wicked. Uh,
Wow.
so I
Wow.
actually got to see Wicked growing up on Broadway. So I kind of already knew the story, loved the Broadway play. I didn't know how they would handle it um, with in the movies, but um, I was very impressed with what they did. I was happily surprised. I think Cynthia Erivo
Hmm.
has the voice of an angel. She was fantastic in every song that she performed. Ariana Grande,
Hmm.
I thought was amazing as well. It's kind of crazy to see how far she's come from just Nickelodeon, and now
Right.
she's like this mega pop star, and she really, this role was suited for her. I mean, she's always wanted to play Glinda, and I love being in the world of Oz. It's so much fun. uh my one like major nitpick with the movie is that it is kind of gray. It doesn't, I mean, they used all of these practical sets, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
If they had just made it a little more colorful, I think that would have like matched the tone of it. But that's just a minor complaint. I really enjoyed this. Uh, I didn't fully expect I would, because I keep telling myself that I don't really love musicals, but
Right.
I really do. Honestly, I love a lot of them, like La La Land, even The Wizard of Oz is an old. So like, I'm ready for Wicked Part Two. I know this was just the first half of the story.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job, and there's a lot to cover in the second one. We may discuss that one later in
Right.
this episode, but I'm excited for it.
I found it crazy how Wicked Part 1 was almost 3 hours long as a musical.
Yeah,
Like,
that's longer than the actual play itself.
right.
Yeah,
And I never saw the Broadway show, so I came into this movie completely blind, knowing that it's only a musical and knowing that the sets were, like you said, practical. So I didn't know what this Wicked was about at all. And I came out loving it. And the only musical I've seen was High School Musical growing up. I've not seen anything else since then. So the fact that this is my other musical movie that I've seen truly shocks me. And I was truly surprised how a movie with green and pink turned out to be one of my favorite movies of the year. That tells you how far I've grown as a guy with movies.
that being said, I hope Troy Bolton makes an appearance in the
Oh my god.
second.
All right, let's move on. At my number eight, I'm not sure if this is a shocker or not, but I have challengers at number eight, okay? Let me tell you. Zendaya went from a Disney kid to a goddamn rated R tennis seduction movie. I never thought that's where her career was gonna go, and I never thought I would be so much into tennis as I currently am now after watching Challengers. Okay, before Challengers, I had zero interest in tennis, zero interest. Now after the movie, I'm playing tennis like twice a week all of a sudden. This movie changed my perspective on the sport and the movie. There are some moments where the directing towards the end, how the camera's like attached to the ball and bounces on the ground, that was very unique and very cool to see. So yeah, I mean, Zendaya was truly amazing. The two of the guys which were really good, and they made a tennis movie so like psychologically like sexy, may I say. And
Mhm.
I never expected it to be that kind of movie at all. So I'm gonna thank my personal friend Abner for letting me know about the screening for this. And I saw this movie 3 times. Thank God. It was such a great movie. I was surprised.
All right, well, it's funny that you mentioned Challengers at your 8 because it's my number 7.
Okay.
Everything that you said, I agree with. I loved how this was kind of just like a psychosexual
Mm-hmm.
match between the three of them, each playing their own game, uh, each trying to win at that. Luca Guadagnino is one of my favorite directors today. I thought visually this was just stunning to look at. His like techno score to go along with it was very fun. Um, like you said, Zendaya, she's branching out from the Disney shell. Now
Oh yeah.
she's here to stay. I mean, she's a major movie star in Challengers. She's in the Dune franchise. She's in Spider Man. She's great in Euphoria as well on HBO. So she's just a megastar now, and I'm excited for her. Also, Josh O'Connor and Mike Faith, her two
Mm-hmm.
co-stars, were also great. The chemistry was really unmatched between them, and it was very good to see.
So at my number 7 is actually gonna be Twisters. I believe it's the remake, correct?
Renaissance, let's go.
Man, Twisters, let me tell you, when I was the marketing for this movie, when I was back at CinemaCon in Vegas this year, they brought out all the things that they used for the effects in the movie. They brought all that out on stage with the actors, and they showed us what it was like acting with those things, like fans or actual leaves, actual the haze. Like, they brought out most like a good amount of those things they use on stage to show them how it was like. And this movie, I'm someone who loves watching movies that have storms in it, like hurricanes in it, like The Day After Tomorrow with what's his name, Jake Gyllenhaal, tornadoes everywhere, tsunamis constantly. Like it was all throughout the movie. It was just storming, and movies that have storms, twisters, that's always like a mess in the movie. That for some reason intrigues me so much because you always wonder how they make that happen behind the scenes and how they tend to survive these crazy storms. And twisters and IMAX, man, let me tell you, it was probably one of my favorite screenings I've been to in Miami. It was so worth the drive to go to Coral Gables for this movie with all the traffic. Twisters should have been one of my top 5 films, but unfortunately, 2024 had other plans for my top 5. But yes, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Daisy Edgar Jones, I believe her name is, all three of them excelled, especially, I have to say, Glenn Powell and underrated actor Anthony Ramos. Both of those guys did amazing, and I just love storm movies. And this movie is definitely my top 10 for that reason. I love Twisters.
One of my regrets from this year was that I didn't get to see Twisters in the 4DX.
Oh my
Just I
god,
can only
no.
imagine just spinning around.
Let
I'm
me
just
tell you,
kidding.
I saw one movie in my life in 4DX that was Thor Love and Thunder. The next day, I got a freaking migraine the whole day. So I promised myself no more 4DX for any movie because if the chairs move, if you're constantly moving in a theater, it's hard for me to focus on the actual movie with the chairs bothering me. So I promised myself the furthest I will go is just 3D.
Mm,
2D, 3D, IMAX, even ScreenX, where it's like those three screens. That's
mm.
as far as I'll go, but never at the door, especially Twisters. Never 4D anymore. That's me personally, though.
Yeah, I mean it's a little much. Um,
All
for
right.
my number six, I have Trap by M. Night Shyamalan.
Ooh, yes.
M. Night Shyamalan is extremely hit or miss. For me, he's made some great movies like the Unbreakable, Split, and Signs and stuff. But he's also made The Last Airbender. He's also made After Earth. Luckily, this landed on the good side for me. So, funny story with this. I had just when I didn't get to see this in theaters. I saw it on streaming, but the day before I watched this, I was actually working at Hard Rock Stadium for Taylor Swift's Eras tour,
Hmm.
and
Wow.
and it felt like I was kind of just stuck in the middle between the thousands of fans there. That's kind of the exact same thing where I feel in this movie. They really throw you right into it. Um, it's kind of just a crazy scenario where there's a serial killer who really wants to look good for her daughter
Mm-hmm.
for her favorite concert or favorite artist, and he's trying not to get caught, but all the police are after him. It really made for some thrilling action and some stunning visuals as well. I remember just the scene where he's standing on the floor and all the phones you could see in the crowd
Mm-hmm.
make the background. Also, shout out to M. Night Shyamalan for giving a role to his daughter. She was the singer in the movie.
Oh, wow.
I think that is a really cool detail and good for her. She had a great voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Josh Hartnett killed it, I thought.
Yeah.
Um, I hope we see more of this kind of Shyamalan going forward.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny is that I saw Trap actually 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago, like this week, and that was my second horror film I've seen in my entire life. And
Mhm.
like for me, I don't really like horror because the jump scares, but horror like this, where it's no jump scares and it's more like thrillers,
I thought it was more of a
mostly.
thriller than a horror.
Yeah, yeah. If it's more of a thriller, I could watch it. But if it has jump scares, I don't watch it. So Trap, I saw this week and I loved it, which is funny you say Trap.
Mm.
All right, at six, I actually have a movie that came out, I believe, in February or March earlier this year, Furiosa.
Ooh,
Furiosa, starring Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy, the prequel to the Mad Max that came out in 2016 or 15, I believe. Chris Hemsworth was hilarious, and he really brought into his role like there was no tomorrow because he was perfect with his disguise, with his body physique, his body movements. He really knew how to act with his character, and Anya Taylor-Joy was is definitely probably one of the top best actresses of the year with her role in Furiosa alone because man, let me tell you, she knows how to freaking act. This woman knows how to freaking act, and this movie just filled with crazy stunts, crazy choreography, the music, the cinematography, especially in IMAX. This movie is definitely probably one of the top forgotten films of the year because we've gotten so many great films towards
undeserved.
the end, towards the end of this year that some people forgot how amazing the beginning of the year was with these movies. So I'm not leaving Furiosa out of the dust. I'm putting this on my list pretty high, top six.
Mhm.
All right, Prey, what's your five?
My number five is Sean Baker's newest film, Anora.
Okay, how was that?
Um, so I thought this was one of the funniest and most heartbreaking movies of the year. It follows Mikey Madison's character, Honora. By the way, Mikey Madison, I think best one, top two performances of the year. She's fantastic in it.
Okay.
She's a sex worker in New York that is trying to find her Cinderella story. She finds this rich dude that promises to give her everything, and it seems like everything's going great until he leaves and everything. Sorry, it falls to shit. Um, and it's just a downward spiral of uh, the upper class with this rich guy's like workers. It's almost like a mafia, to be honest. They're trying to get rid of their marriage, to annul their marriage, and to just toss her aside. Um, but it made for some really great banter between Honora and those guys, and it was just a really heartbreaking ending for me, I thought, because she finally sees someone that just sees her for who she is and not just for money, which is something, in that side of the world that everything is kind of like a
Hmm.
transaction. And when she sees that something is real, she really doesn't know what to think of it, and she just breaks down, and it's very heartbreaking. But like I said, one of the best performances of the year. Sean Baker hits again. I loved his work in the Florida Project. Loved Nora. Just great stuff. Should get some Oscar buzz.
That's a good choice, good option. And Anora's one of the very small list of films that I have not seen yet for the year. Believe me, I'm behind on some films, but that to me was a surprise film on your list. I didn't expect that. I just didn't. But great. Oh, all right, my number five, and I think it's you might think that's pretty low actually. I have the second movie right here, Gladiator 2, at five for a couple reasons. So I saw the first one the night before I saw Gladiator 2, and the first film, in my opinion, I think had more action, and Gladiator 2 seemed to have a lot more dialogue and less action. But obviously, clearly, the scenes within the Colosseum, any action scene in this movie was as expected, amazing in just cinema. I love the actors in this film: Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Connie Nielsen, and a bunch of others that I'm sure I'm missing to name. But Gladiator 2 is a historical and generational masterpiece with Ridley Scott directing. Any film that Ridley Scott creates, you know it's a banger. And Gladiator 2 was definitely a banger, but it's not it's not top three for me because again it has more dialogue and there were some scenes that actually did drag the film and made it seem longer than it actually was, which is it's only like a 2 hour and 30 minute, 20 minute movie, but with this dialogue the movie felt like almost 3 hours long, which is crazy. So it's top five, but it's pretty low because of those couple scenes in Gladiator 2. Plus 24 years to make this, and that's how it turned out to me. Yeah, it's five. It's a pretty good spot, but it's not higher.
Yeah, I enjoyed Gladiator 2 as well. I watched that as a part of Glicked when those two came out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's really hard to surpass the first one. I mean, that's just an all-time classic. But I thought Paul Mescal was really good. Denzel, just aura.
Joseph Quinn. I
I
forgot his name.
what makes me excited about this though is that Christopher Nolan really enjoyed it, and he's going to take that into
Yeah.
his next movie. So I'm happy for that.
All right, Perry, what's your
Um,
number four?
Number four. So my number four actually just came out this week. I got the chance to see it opening night. It's Robert Eggers' latest movie, Nosferatu.
Mm,
I know you said you don't really like horror. This is definitely horror.
yeah.
Um, but I think I think it's the best looking movie of the year, is made for the big screens. Lily Rose Depp is just haunting in this. She's right up there with Mikey Madison for best performance. Bill Skarsgård, you really, I
I
would
love
never
him.
be able to tell that he is Count Orlok in this. But it's really just like another retelling of Dracula, and the story with that. It takes a lot from its predecessors. I know it's a remake from the original 1922 one, but it also takes a lot from Bram Stoker's Dracula
Hmm.
from Francis Ford Coppola. But I thought Eggers was just in his bag here. Probably my lowest of his films, though. I haven't seen The Witch, but I think I still like The Lighthouse and The Northman a little bit more. That's not a detriment to this movie at all, though. I think everybody does a great job. Nicholas Hoult, you should look out for him more.
And Lex Luthor too.
He's gonna make a great Lex, I think.
Oh
Aaron
man,
Taylor Johnson was great in this as well. Um, I just yeah, it was a haunting experience, but I'm still thinking about it today. Um, yeah,
there was one time I saw Nosferatu, but it was literally 2 seconds. That, and no one can blame me seeing him do SpongeBob. I mean, everyone saw him do
yeah,
SpongeBob probably.
yeah.
That was the only time I saw him in my life. But seeing this trailer, seeing a small teaser every time on Twitter, man, if, this is the kind of movie that if I were to see it, I would see it on mute. I would see it on my computer, low quality, on mute. I just don't do horror movies. I just don't, especially with jump scares. My heart races, my anxiety builds up, my palms sweat. Horror movies, um, for me mentally, just not my thing.
I understand.
But anyways, my number four is actually your top eight. Four is gonna be Wicked Part One. Like I said, this was a musical that I've seen, the only musical I've seen since High School Musical. And let me tell you, I was not fond of this at all when I saw the trailer. Even when they had a panel presentation at CinemaCon, everyone got special toy roses that lit up during their panel, and they made just a really amazing presentation to market this film for this year. And like you said, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, they were both exceptional. No one could have played their parts better than those two people, those two women. Ariana Grande went from Cat to Glinda, and that's definitely a glow up. Her voice was perfect. I loved her character, and I love Cynthia Erivo's character very much. Powerful, courageous, bravery. This film is actually doing or did better than Gladiator 2. It won Glicked, and not surprised at all. I saw this twice, and yeah, the music still gives me chills when I hear it on the radio. The sets practical, nothing CGI, which is even better. I love Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Yeoh in this film as well. I just loved everything about this, and the fact that it was only part one, with part two called Wicked for Good next year in November, I actually finally cannot wait for a musical movie to come out, and that's what Wicked has done for me. Wicked has just been that good, and I'm happy we got this film in the first place.
I hope for you don't go into Wicked Part Two knowing anything. I hope you go into it blind because there's a lot of twists to come. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, like I said, I've not seen the Broadway show. I've only seen the movie, so I'm sure I'll still be surprised even after I see the trailer for it.
Mm.
All right, sir. Let's hear number three.
All right, my number three movie, making his second appearance in my top 10, I have Luca Guadagnino's Queer. Um, I was not expecting, I didn't really know what to expect with this movie, actually, but I thought Daniel Craig gave the best performance of the year. It's really just a tale of self destruction, and like what it means to be lonely. Uh, he's trying to develop this relationship with Drew Starkey from Outer Banks. who's very standoffish. You don't really know what to think of him. But Daniel Craig, he all he does is talk. He never shuts up. And so he goes on this whole journey with him, trying to get him to do drugs, trying to like bribe him into getting something that he'd want. He just has like this self-inflicting hatred. I don't know if it's hatred for himself, but like depressant for himself in being queer and being who he is, that just really stood out to me. I thought that was very powerful, um, and just very lonely. This was a very stunning movie visually. He, I, it's like the polar opposite from Challengers. Uh, it wasn't at all what I was expecting, but I was happy with the result.
All right, sounds good to me. Now, my three in this film is actually pretty funny because I said how much I hate horror films. But three, I'm putting Alien Romulus. Okay, this movie had so much hype going in this year, especially after CinemaCon, San Diego Comic Con. I went to both places, and the hype around this movie was otherworldly. Okay, and I mean, as far as hype level, it was Deadpool 3, and then followed by Alien Romulus. It gives like Twitter was just going crazy over this movie, and the fact that I saw the trailer, and thank God it showed most of the jump scares ahead of the movie. So when I went into this movie in IMAX on opening night, I knew when to expect the jump scare, so I didn't get scared. Although there are plenty of scenes that are very quiet that were letting you know when to anticipate a jump scare, and I still got scared. But I love the actors in this film. I love Ridley Scott, and again, if it's Ridley Scott directing, it's gonna be a banger, like I said. So I had to come see this movie. I did bite my nails through most of the tense moments, but this movie is made for the big screen. The Alien, I mean, plus the Alien franchise, it's legendary. That's also the reason why it's legendary, and I wanted to see how it continues on after the previous films. And this one is arguably one of my favorite films, acting wise, setting wise, set design wise. And I heard one of the actors from San Diego Comic Con said that most of the stuff were practical to help the actors actually be scared during the movie. So the fact that they used practical things made it even more crazier, knowing that they had that in front of them. So A Romulus is definitely my top three of the year. And again, it's a horror film, which does surprise myself. But yeah, if Phil's watching, if you're hearing me say how much I hate horror films, but still saw Alien, that tells you how good this movie is as a whole. I, it shocked me.
Shout out Kaylee Spaney and David
Yes.
Johnson. They were terrific,
Hmm.
and
And our new DC Hawk girl, Isabella Merced.
yeah, Scream Queen there.
All right,
Uh,
so number two, we're almost done. We're almost getting there.
my number two, you mentioned this before, is Furiosa.
Okay.
George Miller's return to the wasteland did not disappoint for me. I was actually the only person in my theater while watching this, and it was opening night. So
Mhm.
y'all did Furiosa dirty. Um, Chris Hemsworth, the best performance of his career. It
Wow.
was really an unstoppable force meets an immovable object with Anya Taylor-Joy. Both were fantastic. The visuals and the actual stunts that they did are just breathtaking.
Hmm.
Um, hot take, I think this might be better than Fury Road for me because I think I like the story of this more. It's kind of a like a character development for Furiosa.
Hmm.
It was also great in Fury Road by Charlize Theron. Um, but I really loved getting to know more of her character. Also, the child actress, Aaliyah Brownie, I think. Terrific as well. Um, but it's just an action-packed wild ride, and I was there for it. Um, I just loved it. Yeah.
So far I'm looking at your list, and I'm very surprised that there's a certain movie not there anywhere, and you'll find out pretty soon. I'm just very surprised to see it right now, to not see it. But anyways, number two for me, number two and one, they can be switchable or interchangeable, but I have Deadpool 3 at number two. Okay, I feel like this movie is made solely for comic book fans because this world is filled with people who love mostly comic book movies, and there's people who love all genre type movies, you know? So I feel like Deadpool 3 was really made just for people who loved comic book movies, the X-Men, the Deadpool franchise, any movie with superheroes, superpowers, and this was a freaking fever dream. Seeing the past in this movie, all those cameos, all those surprises, but the hilarious dialogue, Channing Tatum as Gambit, everything about this movie felt like a dream, and I had to see it 5 times to make sure if it was real. Okay, so this is the first movie in my life I saw 5 times, and yep, ripped to my wallet, but it was so worth it. Deadpool 3 was a movie that I was looking forward to since it was announced 2 years ago, and we finally got it. And I'm just I'm just blessed that we have this now on Disney Plus. I can watch this anytime I want. And yeah, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they were literally born for Deadpool and Wolverine. It was just incredible to see. And this is the first movie I went to see in LA for a friend of mine who hosted a screening for this, and it was so worth it. It was so worth the trip because he invited, like, he rented a whole IMAX theater for this film. I don't know if you know Matt Ramos Soups, someone
Oh
who
yeah,
I talk
Soups.
about. Yeah, he's someone I talk about all the time for some reason because we're both huge Heat fans as well. So whenever I see him in LA, we always talk. We're pretty close online. But I saw this movie at his screening that he hosted, and I'm thanking God that this movie exists at all. So that's why it's number two for me. Pretty high.
Well, my number one, there was never really a doubt for me with this. It instantly climbed to one of my favorite movies of all time. It's Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2. Uh, there's really not much I can say that hasn't already been said
Mm-hmm.
about this movie. Timothy Chalamet as Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. Uh, just chills in the scene where he's walking into the cave and he's just sizing
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Right.
Uh, lead them to paradise, man. Rebecca Ferguson haunting in this as well, where she's
Yeah.
like tripping out. Javier Bardem's Stilgar. I need a Stilgar in my life to just hype me up for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the visuals are otherworldly in this. The fact that they went to I forgot what the planet the Harkonnens, where they have the gladiator scene with Austin Butler, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why their skin is pale, is because they have a, a pale sun or something. Just a great detail. It got me to start reading the books. Invested in this lore. I can't wait for Dune Messiah.
Well, your number one movie is finally something I can agree with because I am gonna put also Dune 2 at number one for obvious reasons. You know, this movie is cinema. It's pure cinema. Timothée Chalamet should win an Oscar for his role in this movie, for his acting. Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Austin Butler, Josh Brolin, everyone in this film showed us what it's like to be in a cinematic piece of history kind of film, especially in IMAX. And
Oh yeah,
the color grading itself, the background pieces in the movie. This movie is one of one, and it's definitely on its own tier for this year of movies. Let me tell you, the music hits the same, even though it's most of the original score. But yeah, Timothée Chalamet is my obvious standout, and now we gotta wait till next year or two for Doom 3 Messiah, which I can't wait for either. And
Yeah.
before we move on, let's name my one honorable mention. It might be a sleeper as well. Came out beginning of the year. The Fall Guy.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Gosling in this movie, he's hilarious. He's one of those guys who who's like whatever kind of a vibe. He does his character is hilarious. His stunts are incredible. The music is amazing. It's fun. I'm just shocked that this movie is kind of getting forgotten this time of the year, and I just wanted to put this on my list or in this podcast so people don't forget it because I got a shirt from seeing this movie. Well, not in the movie, at CinemaCon. People got shirts for this as like a giveaway, marketing type of thing. And I still have it now. And him, Emily Blunt, what a duo in this movie. So much action, so much hilarious dialogue. I love this film, and I saw this actually in 3D, and it was even better in 3D. So I had to mention that as I will mention. And now, for the sake of time, what we will do is give our full top 10 list with no explanation, and then we will give our 2025 top 10 with no explanation, just naming the films for a sake of time. So, Perry, one last time, give us your honorable mentions, and then give us your top 10 to 1 movie names for this year.
For 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my honorable mentions were Snack Shack, Inside Out 2, Transformers 1, and Conclave. My number 10 was I Saw the TV Glow, followed by Hitman, Wicked, Challengers, Trap, Anora, Nosferatu, Queer, Furiosa, and Dune Part 2.
And again, I'm very surprised I don't see Deadpool 3 anywhere in there, which makes me kind of pissed at you. And surprised at the same time.
That's a later discussion.
Okay. Well, my other mention is The Fall Guy, which is still sort of underrated for this year. Number 10, also underrated, Arthur the King, followed by Inside Out 2. At number 8, Challengers, followed by Twisters, followed by Furiosa. And in my top 5, Gladiator 2, 4 is Wicked. My number 3 is Alien, much and well deserved. And my top 2, 2 being Deadpool 3, and 1 we could all agree on is Dune 2. And just before we end this off, Perry, give me your top 10 for 2025 films that you were really looking forward to watching.
All right, so yeah, there's a lot to look forward to next year to follow up this great year. Um, for me, I have The Running Man, which is going to be directed by Edgar Wright, starring Glenn Powell, one of the most fun directors, paired up with one of the most fun actors. Can't really ask for more. Then I have Wake Up,
Dead
Dead
Man.
Men, the new Knives Out. Love the first Knives Out. Not as big on Glass Onion, but still had a good time with it. Looking forward to more of that. Then I have I'm not going to include this in my top 10 because I don't think it has a title yet, but there's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio. You can't
Mm-hmm.
miss that for me. My number 9 is Michael, the new biopic about Michael
Number 9?
Jackson's.
Number 9?
Yeah, because I didn't include the
Okay, okay.
Paul Thomas. Yeah. Um, Starring Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson. Um, I have some really high hopes for this. You know, it's the king of pop. I really hope they do it well. I hope the music's great. Looking forward to that. Speaking of music, my number 8 is Wicked for Good. Looking forward
Mm-mm.
to backing up the great Wicked Part 1 from this year. My number 7 is Fantastic Four First Steps.
Okay.
Um, I'm really liking the whole 60s aesthetic with that. I like the casting choices. I'm just a little hesitant with it because I know that the main villain for it is going to be Galactus, and they also have more to introduce with Doctor Doom. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how they're going to handle it, but I'm excited for it nonetheless. My number 6 is Tron Ares. Everything about
Mm.
this is telling me not to be excited for it. It has Jared Leto. It's got the director of the last Pirates of the Caribbean. But
Right.
I love Tron Legacy, the 2011 one, and I'm excited to be back in this video game world. I hope they do it right, please. Um, my number 5 is Ryan Coogler's new movie Sinners. Michael B. Jordan, Vampires, the
Right.
director of Black Panther and Creed. Sign me up. Haley Steinfeld as well. I'm gonna be there. My number 4 is Avatar: Fire and Ash, the new James Cameron addition to this world of Pandora. Kind of like Dune Part 2, you kind of just have to see it in
Right.
theaters. It's going to be an event. Everyone's going to see it. I'm looking forward to it. I hear there's bad fire people, kind of like The Last Airbender, but okay, James Cameron. Uh, Excited for it. Number 3, I have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I love
Mhm.
Mission Impossible movies. Tom Cruise can do no wrong with these. If this is the last one, I know he's going to go out with a bang. Hopefully, he doesn't kill himself while doing it. Uh, and I'm just really excited for it. The trailer looked amazing. My number 2 movie is a movie that keeps getting delayed. I hope it actually does come out. Is Mickey 17,
Yes.
directed by Bong Joon-ho, coming off of Parasite, which was my number 1 movie from 2019. I'm really excited for this. Robert Pattinson and sci-fi, sign me up. I'm already there. And my number 1, you discussed this last week, it may be a hot take to have it as my number 1. I
I don't
mean, it's
know.
getting a lot of buzz. It's Superman by James Gunn. I think this has it kind of has the most pressure of any movie maybe ever going into
Mhm.
it.
Oh
But I've
yeah.
loved all of the casting choices that they've made. Nicholas Hoult, Rachel Brosnahan, loved her in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't really know David Cornsweet, but he looks the part, so I'm excited for that. I'm really excited to see where James Gunn takes this character. I'm ready for uh, the optimism and just really what Superman's all about. And this is coming from someone that actually likes the Snyder films. I love Man of Steel,
Yeah,
Batman
me
v
too.
Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Mhm.
I love Henry Cavill, but I'm still excited for this. You can like them both.
You
I'm
know,
just saying that.
I'm not sure if you noticed it, but David Cornsweet, he did have a role in Twisters this year.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy to see him go from that character to freaking Superman.
Yeah. I hope he's a lot nicer in this one.
Oh, he better be.
Yeah.
Anyways, my top 10 actually, it's funny because you one of these movies is your top three. So my number 10 is Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson. Like you said, Robert Pattinson, sci-fi. Yes, sign me up. I saw the trailer multiple times, and he's also pretty funny in this movie too.
Hmm.
So yes, any sci-fi film that's out there, I'm definitely gonna be in my seat day one. Number 9, sorry, Avatar: Fire and Ash. We know what these movies are about. We know what they provide us. Now it's only about if James Cameron can provide us another great Avatar film. We know. So yes, most of these movies I'm putting are pretty low on my list because we know what the story is about. We know what to expect. It's just a matter of if they can give us a great movie or not. 8, again, I can't feel bad. Michael Jackson. I saw the trailer for this at CinemaCon first earlier this year in Vegas. The music got me dancing in my seat, and I read on Twitter how a bunch of a bunch of his original songs will be in this movie as well. So it's gonna be like watching a concert as a movie, and I really can't wait for this. And like you said, his nephew looks with all the makeup he's got on, prosthetics or whatever he has on, he looks like him, MJ. Like it's crazy. But this trailer, if it got me dancing, I really can't wait to see what the film makes me feel. 7, Karate Kid Legends.
Mm.
Ralph Macchio, Jackie Chan. You cannot ask for a better duo than that, especially in this karate world. And the moment I heard about those two men in one movie, I didn't even need to see a trailer for it. I'm there. Jackie Chan, karate movie, I'm there. Period.
I wonder if this has anything to do with Cobra Kai as well. I know that's ending.
I don't know, but that'd be
Mm.
pretty cool for ties with it.
Yeah.
My number 6, F1 starring Brad Pitt, the racing movie. I don't know much about it, but I saw the trailer or a teaser for it, and this is like any similar to Gran Turismo. I'm so there. I saw the way the camera looks in the trailer of the movie, and it feels like you're actually in the car, and that's pretty cool. So yes, F1 is number six. Five, Thunderbolts, which is like the DC Suicide Squad. Thunderbolts, you get a whole team of killers out there who are have to complete a mission, this and that. You know, it's Marvel, so any Marvel film, I'm there. But this movie is special in its own way, which is why it is top five. Four, John Wick spin-off Ballerina starring Andy Armas. Andy Armas looks like a badass in this film, and Keanu Reeves does make an appearance, which makes it even better. So
I
yes,
wonder how
that's
that's gonna work, giving
don't know, don't care. I'm there. It's Keanu Reeves, and it's mostly on Andy Armas as a star. So I'm so there. Seeing the poster for it, the trailer for this, the coloring even is perfect.
yeah.
Three, Fantastic Four. Like you said, Galactus being the main villain. I saw the way he looks in a small, like a sneak peek when I was in Comic Con in San Diego. He looks crazy good. He looks huge, which he looks like an actual human physique, not like a storm we saw with the original 2001.
Mhm.
But yes, Fantastic Four. I am iffy a little bit on the casting for this team, but all we could do is hope to enjoy this film. Top two. Also, a Marvel film. Number two is the new Captain America, starring Sam Wilson's Anthony Mackie. Chris Evans passed him the torch for it, and now there is slight pressure for Anthony Mackie, like there is for David Cornsweet, but I feel like because this is Marvel, all the hype is right now is on DC Superman, so I feel like there's less pressure for Anthony Mackie's new Captain America. His suit looks amazing. Red Hulk in this film, I cannot wait. I just hope it's going to be a great film because this looks like it involves more like a political theme to this. And I'm not the kind of guy who's into politics, but this movie looks it's Marvel, so you know I gotta be there.
Mm.
And phone down, everything turned off. It's obvious. Number one, you said it. The main man from Twisters, my guy David Cohen Sweat, Superman. Okay, Superman. It is the only movie that has incredible hype, and I feel like it has a lot of pressure to him because he's filling in the shoes that Henry Cavill filled in, who is arguably my favorite Superman. There's always the guy from I don't remember his name from the CW that just ended very recently.
Mhm.
Tyler, I don't know what his last name is, but you know, Superman Lois. But Superman is one of the most it's a film that has so much pressure to deliver, and the fact that James Gunn said everything you saw in the trailer or the teaser was it's only what you see mostly in the beginning of the movie. And David said that this trailer tells nothing about this film, and the fact that we got a lot still is a kind of a good sign. And again, looking at this teaser, so I said this last week. This teaser showed us definitely that this is directed by James Gunn, the one who made Guardians of the Galaxy, and you could see the camera how everything moves, how everything's angled. You can see that it was made by the same man who made Guardians of the Galaxy. I still miss Zack Snyder, but James Gunn, the DC universe is literally in his hands, and he has to make a great first impression. So I'm just praying that this is worth my number one choice, Superman.
I just want to say one more thing
Yeah.
on Superman. I see there's a lot of divisiveness online about it following the trailer. I think that's exactly why we need a Superman. He's the symbol of hope,
Hmm.
the symbol for good, and I think I think James Gunn can cook up something great with this. I think it's exactly what we need right now, and that's why he's making it.
And let me just say, this trailer broke records as far as views go, and yeah, no pressure, James Gunn, no pressure at all. I have to admit, seeing Crypto was my favorite part of the trailer, the dog. But yeah, I mean, I hope this movie can deliver, and I know we're in for an amazing year of movies next year, and I cannot wait to make more content based on that. I cannot wait to see. I hope I can see more movies next year than I have this year, and that's very hard to come by.
Mm.
But anyways, yeah. I mean, any last words before we end off the last pod of the year?
No. Thanks for having me. It's been a great year. I hope uh, to continue doing this. This was a lot of fun, and looking forward to seeing what the next year brings.
Do you have any social media accounts that people could follow you by?
Yeah, you can follow me at Perry Yalkut on Instagram. That's PeryYalkut. That's also my Letterboxd username. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, I talk a lot about movies and rate stuff on there as well. So check that out if you're interested.
And you guys can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, all the same name, entertain_today. I'm I am Jeremy, aka your host, Entertain Today, and you guys can expect episode 3 to come shortly after the week. I'm hoping the week of the 7th when I come back from my cruise for the New Year's. If not the 7th, the week of the 7th, it will be the week after. But definitely look out for episode 3. It will be another big one, hopefully of a bigger group. And yeah, that's been our episode, a very short one. Great year of movies, and looking forward to a great year of movies next year and beyond. Perry, thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys next year.
Thank you guys.